freshly shampooed with Redken Extreme Length Shampoo and Conditioner. And now what I want to do is a regular round brush blow dry for smoothing and a little bit of volume. So my first step is going to be using Redken's One United. This is a leave-in or rinse out, and it has multi-benefits. Basically what we're using it for today is a detangler and moisturizer. So we're just going to take the product and spray it in before we use a comb or brush. So I've got my Samvia paddle brush here. Now you can see if I hold it this way, there's a lot of pins, but when we hold it this way, there are rows of pins. So it's gonna have a lot less tension going through the hair. So this is how I use my brush, vertically rather than horizontally, to come in and detangle. My next product is Redken Pillow Proof Blow Dry Primer. This is gonna set up our style. What we're doing with this is protecting our hair from heat up to 450 degrees. We're also speeding up the time of our blow dry, so getting a little more time in our life for the things that we wanna do, right? And it's also going to be concentrating our styling product that we go in with after this one. So you can see the two components in here start to separate, almost like salad dressing. So before you use this every time, what you want to do is shake it. So we'll just do a few sprays all over and then come back in with our Samvia paddle brush again to work it through. All right, so that's our primer. Now I'm gonna use the High Rise Volume from Redken. This is a duo chamber container. So you can see there's one product in the center and then one product on the outside around that. So if you press in the middle of it, you'll get a good combination of both of those components and work it all the way through. All right, so now we've got all of our product throughout the hair. Our next step is to start blow drying, and the first step of blow drying is going to be the rough dry. So with your rough dry, the object is really just to get most of the moisture out. You want to rough dry your hair till it's about 80 to 90% of the moisture gone. So 80 to 90% dry. So I'm using my Samvia blow dryer. And I'm actually gonna take the nozzle off for this part, but keep it, because we're gonna put it back on later. That part always takes a little longer than you want it to, right? So now we're gonna put our nozzle right back on and get ready to start drying with our round brush. So I've got my 2-inch Samvia thermal round brush that I'm gonna be using. This is a good size if you want to get a lot of smoothness and not as much curl with your style. So when I'm doing my own hair, I like to start at the bottom and then work my way up. The way I'm gonna do that is by taking sections and clipping them away. So I'm just focusing on one area at a time. So I made a section behind my ear, basically sectioning off the nape of my head, right? So this will be our first area that we work on, and then I'll just go down the center, back, and split it into 2 sections. Now these will be the first 2 sections that you dry, 1 and 2. When you're working with a brush this size, or a brush any size really, what you want to remember is the size of the section that you're drying should not be any bigger than the size of the brush. So this wide and this long. You can see how that works there. So I'll turn on my dryer, and when you're working with the dryer and the brush together, you want to make sure that the dryer isn't necessarily directly onto the brush. You want to hover above it, but still these two are going to move together, right? These guys are friends, so they are going to stay near each other. One thing to remember is to always keep the flow of air, the direction of the airflow going down the hair shaft. If you were to change the direction and have it flowing up, that's when we're going to be creating frizz, because we're blowing the cuticle in the direction that it doesn't want to go. So keeping our airflow going down the hair shaft the whole time is going to help to lay that cuticle down and give you extra shine and smoothness. So you may notice that I am changing the direction of where the brush comes in contact with that section of hair. What I'm trying to do is create tension or maintain tension throughout the process of drying that section. So by coming in here, you see how we place the brush in and do a little quarter turn, and that kind of locks it into the brush. Now I've got tension. Then we're gonna come over it and do the same thing, a little quarter turn, keeps that tension. So tension is gonna give us stretch, and stretch gives us shine and smoothness again. So the tension in conjunction with the airflow is what we're looking for. So my next section, I'm gonna take everything down now that we've got the nape done, and go from my temples and come right back around and meet just below the crown. So now you've got your back and your sides isolated, and we're gonna go through and do this in about 4 sections. First one is gonna be right here on the side. So you can see how that works with the size of the brush, keeping with that rule. Now we'll just do the 2 sections in the back behind those 2 side sections. Okay, now we've got our back and sides done. So we can take our next 2 sections off the top, and you're gonna want a section about the same width of the brush again. So you can see there, that's gonna be the same size width as the brush. And I'll just take both of these side sections down. So then we're left with this mohawk area that we can still clip out of the way. So it's so important to have this clip because it's gonna keep everything in place, keep the hair that you're trying to stay away from out of your way. Because if we get into that area where we're taking too much hair in the brush, it's actually gonna take a lot longer. So taking the time to create these sections is gonna speed up your blow dry. So I'll just separate each of these side sections into two again for more control. Okay, now we've just got this top section left to go. So I generally will start in the back here and I'll just use my finger to separate this section. This will be our first section. And then we'll have two more, the middle and then your fringe area. So we'll just clip this out of the way and work on this section in the back. Next section, we'll go right here, separating the front fringe area and that middle top area. All right, now we've got our last section, this fringe, and I'm just gonna brush through, get any little tangles out, and then come in on top and wind the hair around. So you can see with that fringe area, after I blow dry it forward and up, I let it fall and let it just find its natural part. And then I'll go ahead and smooth each of those sides to the side that they want to live on. So let them live where they want to live. And that's our slightly voluminous, smooth blow dry. So some big takeaways from this were our three products that we used, our Redken One United as our detangler and moisturizer before combing or detangling. And then we used our paddle brush to work that out in a vertical action. Then we used our Pillow Proof Blow Dry primer to protect our hair from heat up to 450 degrees and to speed up our blow dry process. Then we prepped the hair with high-rise volumizer. So this is what gives us that little bit of lift, right? And if we wanted to get more lift, we'll show you that in another video for a super volume blow dry. But today we were just going for a minimum. And then using my blow dryer, nozzle off for the rough dry and nozzle on concentrator to direct our flow of air exactly where we want it to create the least amount of frizz and force the air out of the blow dryer faster to give us more of the effect. Then we used our 2-inch thermal round brush to help with smoothing and tension and giving us our stretch dry that we were looking for. Keeping the sections that we're working on isolated by using the clip and having that roadmap of starting in the nape and then working through the sides and the back, and then those two side sections of the top, and then working through the mohawk and finishing with your fringe area. This is gonna keep us all looking good for our Zoom meetings this month. Hope you enjoyed it. I will see you all soon.